Welcome to episode 400 of the official Gamestitch Podcast. I'm Ryan Walton, and as always, I'm joined by Dan Reamer.
Good morning.
Good
and
morning.
A special guest.
Special guest in the house, episode 400. Producer Gerald's mic'd up.
Hey, everybody.
Whew, a lot of people on here.
Three. Yeah.
3. That's one more than usual.
I know. It's also about the extent of the number of people I like.
Yeah. Also,
Menage.
that's the number of people who typically watch this stream that I've been doing, too.
For all I know, that's how many people listen. So
so 3 is like a whole new ball game for me. This is max capacity over here.
Max Cat.
Yeah, we're reaching a new... I'll tell you what's confusing. I think I've talked about this before. But we don't get stats for everything.
Right.
We've been going along. We've been doing the show a long time. You can do the math. We'll talk about it. But Spreaker has its own stats, which is just basically the platform we use to get our audio over to YouTube for the show. It tells you lifetime downloads, and over 10 years or 7 years, it's not that many downloads. But when you look at that number and know that everything else is probably similar, it's almost jarring because it's 12,000, 13,000 downloads or whatever over there.
Right.
And that's just one platform that we're on, but it always blows my mind every time I see it because I'm like, that's a big number, but if you do the math, it's not a big number. But then you're like, but how many platforms are out there, Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I get confused sometimes by it. Because every time I have to, it's stupid because we don't pay for it. It's not stupid. I'm stupid. Because we don't pay for it, I can only keep 3 episodes up at a time. So every week when a new episode comes out, I have to go delete the other episode.
Right.
But I see lifetime plays once a week whenever I click that over there. So that's fun.
Well, maybe we should look into some sort of payment option or tracking, something to track it a little better.
Look, I'm going to be real with you. There's a lot of stuff we should be paying for. There's about 7 or 8 services that we could really use that cost money. But, we're balling on the budget over here. Times are tough. You don't ever know what job's going to do these days.
We need donations.
That's right. Patreon.com/Gamestitch. That's why Gerald's here. Remind everybody about open your hearts and wallets.
He's the marketing guy on top of the producer.
Open your hearts, open your wallets.
Can't lose.
GoFundMes.
Yeah.
I've
been
hearts,
streaming.
Open wallets, can't lose.
I think that's how that goes. Clear minds, open wallets. I've been streaming every night for 14 nights leading up to this episode 400 here, and we're only 10 followers away from getting affiliate status, which would give us the ability to make some money on Twitch as well.
Yeah, I saw that for 40, I think.
Yeah. So we need 50. So if you're listening, if you're one of those people that listens but doesn't ever write in, that's fine. Just go over to twitch.tv/Gamestitch and do that because again,
just follow us.
Lots of things we should use money on. So. If we should, I was looking at something this morning that we really could use, and it's $28 a month, and I was like, that's just a lot of money, And everything is licensing now, right? There's nothing you can just buy and use. Everything is have to month to month,
right?
Because that's how they get you.
Yeah, what is that? That's $300 a year.
Mm-hmm. But it would make we've talked about this, and I don't want to steal any questions, but. Some of the stuff we want to do for the future, it would make Gerald's life easier if we, the thing I was looking at, because it gives you the ability to do some things really easy. But in order to use that stuff, you also have to subscribe to, Photoshop and After Effects and those things. So it's then that you have to pay monthly for that one.
Right.
So it's next thing you know, we're $60 a month in, and we've got some Patreon money, but how long is that going to last if we don't have new Patreon money to offset that difference?
Right. No, I get that.
So maybe Twitch is a viable resource for $20 or $30 a month to come in and cover one of those things.
Yeah.
We'll see.
That's a good idea. I think I'm gonna start an OnlyFans for Gamestitch.
Yeah, I think that's also a feasible thing to do.
That is an option. I will not be participating.
Video game shirtless.
I'm probably not even going to subscribe or follow.
I'll get in on that. I'll join in on that. That seems okay.
You're going to be part of the OnlyFans, or you're going to subscribe?
I'll be part of it.
You'll be on it?
I'm not. I'm just a little transparency. This episode's all about transparency. I don't subscribe to anything that I'm a part of. I don't believe I should have to pay for my own content. But I'll be on there. I'll get on there. Now, if Gerald had an exclusive OnlyFans, I wouldn't look at it, but I would probably subscribe to help him out. Mm-hmm. But if we had one we were doing in like conjunction with each other, like if it was a duo, yeah, I'd be a part of it. I wouldn't subscribe though.
Can you imagine how many people we get if both of us are just sitting in a room playing video games, shirtless?
But we don't interact. We just both play shirtless.
Yeah, there would be everything will be like, when you guys are going to do it? When you guys are going to do it?
Yeah.
Who's sucking who off?
You might have just gave away the secret though. It never actually happens. This is actually just us playing through Tony Hawk. Like nothing ever happens.
I'm sure we could set a dual screen up, like you're at your house and I'm at my house, have the same background to make it look like we're there.
Yeah, I don't. OnlyFans been in the news a lot lately because they changed the way their money works.
Yeah, because of Bella Thorne.
Yeah, people upset about OnlyFans. So
people upset about Bella Thorne fucking with that shit.
Yeah, she honey-dicked the OnlyFans community, and they had to put new guidelines in place.
Yeah, dicked over all the sex workers.
Sucks.
It does.
Because she didn't need any money.
No, she was okay.
Yeah. But it is what it is. We got lots of ideas cooking for how we can make money. We've thought about selling drugs. That's always an option. We could start a used car lot, maybe.
No, I don't know how we're starting a used car lot. Listen, if you
move the cocaine through the trunks.
If you're considering financial problems with $28 a month, we are not starting a used car lot.
It's not about having it; it's about recouping it. We're like a zero footprint here. That's what's important. Is we have to keep it that way.
So we're good for the environment.
Yeah, we're good for the environment, which is good for my wallet. But yeah, there's several things that we could and probably should do, and some that we might do, in the nearish future.
Don't hold your breath, listeners. Don't hold your breath.
Yeah, I mean, that our promises are like a pitcher full of water with a hole in the bottom.
Yeah, they're like a fart in the wind.
Yeah, we mean well, but it's could go either way. But this episode is just going to be all about us. I mean, we think we have earned that. There's lots of big news out there. We really didn't plan to talk about the news, but then of course a lot of big stuff happens. We want to quickly go through it? Do you want to skip it? Where are your heads at?
You lead, I'll follow.
Gerald, what are your thoughts?
How's that sound?
You lead, I'll follow.
Great, guys, very helpful.
That's right.
All right, so here's.
You know what? Just touch on the stuff quick. I mean, people can get the listeners can get the information from a number of places, but this is traditionally part of what we do. So, to maintain that tradition, why don't you just run through the big thing this week? There's really only one or two things that are really big.
Here's the elevator pitch, the 20-second news. Then I'll jump into kind of what we're going to do today. So Xbox was forced to release their pricing because leaks were going like crazy, and so they did confirm it. The Series X is going to be $500, and the Series S is going to be $300. So they are $299 and $499. So that's out there. Then Sony announced September 16th. Is that right?
Yes.
They will be having a live stream, which I am sure is to release the price of the PlayStation, because what they were waiting to happen happened. So
yeah, I would imagine so. And they wasted no time in saying, "Hey, this is when we're doing our little spectacle."
Yeah, we had this plan the whole time.
Like literally about an hour after.
Yeah. Now
Microsoft
I don't want to
announce prices.
I don't want to overshadow what we're going to do today,
okay.
But I will say that the Xbox Twitter, for both Xbox and Game Pass, has been on point lately. With everything going on, it's been cracking me up. So I enjoyed that. They were like sending memes out and stuff when the price was leaking everywhere. And then they were like, the next day they were like, I guess we should just go ahead and do this. And they put it out. And then Game Pass, after everything went down, the next day Game Pass tweeted, "Did something happen last night?" Which I also thought was brilliant. Twitters are getting creative now.
Yeah.
Like some of those Twitters, like Sonic the Hedgehog and Wendy's and Fall Guys, like some of those they're hitting the right spot for me.
Yeah, they're fun. They're fun.
I like when big companies can have fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the big news that we're not going to cover.
That we just talked about real quick.
Right. We covered without covering. You can support the show over at patreon.com/Gamestitch. You don't have to support the show. You can just tell people about us. At this point, I think you know, but we come out each and every week, and we've been doing that for a long time. So today, we're just going to celebrate that, and I had an idea, and I ran it by you guys, and you at least were willing to humor me. And so what we're going to do today is sort of kind of interview each other. We have questions prepared, and I figured we could just go around the table, ask each other some questions.
In a sense, we have questions prepared.
Yeah. Gerald and I have got a decent amount of questions prepared.
I do not. I do not. I do have some questions, but there was in true Gamestitch fashion, there was a definite lack of planning on this when, basically this idea got thrown at me 2:00 yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, so what happened was I was pulling the news, and it just didn't seem like after 400 episodes we should just get on here and talk about the news again. So then I was like, what else can we do? And then I was like, I would enjoy just asking some questions to you guys that you don't know are coming to get a real honest answer on here to see what happens. And I don't even know where some of these will go. We'll try to give you more than a yes or a no. I think I want to elaborate on the answers. The thing we got to make sure we stay on topic though, because if you talk too much, you might steal one of my questions. Like if you elaborate too far, I may not have anything left.
Okay.
And Dan's working off a limited list, so we really got to be careful not to not to answer all of his right up front.
Yeah. That's true.
So here's my question for you guys. Do you want to go person by person? Do you want to rotate?
Probably need to rotate, don't you think?
I don't know. That's what I don't know. I don't have a best way for this to work. I don't know.
Or ask one question to one person or however.
Yeah. Do you want to?
I can go first. Yeah.
So do you want to do all your questions, or are you just going to do one? I don't know.
I'll just do one right now. Well, that way we can split up answers and questions a little bit.
Okay. So you do one to one person.
Okay. This one's going to be for Gerald.
Okay.
Gerald, I have a question for you.
Let's do before you start. Let's do it like this. We'll just do person by person. So we'll do Gerald, we'll do you, then we'll do me, then we'll do Gerald, and we'll just keep going like that until we're all out of questions.
Okay.
That way it's easy.
I'm going to be quick, so I don't have many questions, so this will work.
That's fine. I got some extras.
I'll see if I can brainstorm some.
Yeah, you can get some.
I'll see if I can figure some out while I'm talking. Gerald, my question is for you. Okay, what is the single most potent video game memory that most sticks with you? And the reason I ask this is because I think Ryan and I have talked about these kind of things before, but I don't think we've ever talked about it with you. Like that one memory that is like, this is the epitome of my video game memories. This is what I always want video games to be. Whether it's on a personal note or just because you had an amazing experience with the game, doesn't matter. Just that one memory, that this is it.
Now, while Gerald's trying to figure out his answer, I want to remind everybody, we did not discuss these before.
No, we don't know these questions.
So our answers, especially with Dan and myself, if you just rewind, you could probably find all these answers, and they're probably different than what we're going to tell you today, because that's how my memory works. So just know that these are our real off-the-cuff answers. And Gerald, I can't kill any more time for you. You're going to have to answer.
That's good. That's a good question.
I don't know. No, that's not how this game works. That is not how this game works.
Yeah.
Some of mine are harder than this, so you're going to want to nail this one.
I don't know. It'd be probably when I was younger, and all of us would go over, like all my friends would go over to someone's house, and we'd play Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter or Tecmo Bowl, and just all of us just shitting on each other, making fun of the other person because someone whooped someone's ass. They beat him in this, just talking shit. It just that's
Passing
what
the
I miss
controllers
about it.
around.
That's why I love like playing with you guys when multiplayer when we all can play the same game. So because someone's going to shit on somebody, someone's going to make fun of somebody, and someone's going to lose and cry.
Yeah, some people definitely take it better as an adult than others. When you're a kid, I think everybody takes it. Everybody enjoys being dunked on as a kid because you're just going to do it back to somebody.
Right.
Yeah.
Now people do get their feelings hurt.
Well, I think it's. I mean, at that point, it was. Excuse me, I burped. I don't know if you heard that or not, but I did.
Congratulations, 400 burp.
Oh, I feel good. I don't know. Back then, it was like 4-6 people all razzing each other consistently over a period of time. Now it's constantly different people. So okay.
There was something special about those times, though, because I remember those times as well. Not with Gerald, but my own times.
Yeah.
All right, Gerald, this is my first question for you. I'm starting out on a fun note. What does a producer do on this show?
On this show?
This is maybe the question that I get most from everyone is what does Gerald do? And so I don't want you to go into the future because I'll
okay, so
tip the cap a little bit. I got some questions coming about the future.
Gerald shares
currently what is it that you do?
Monitor, and usually has like videos or pictures of whatever Dan and Ryan are talking about. So every time you hear them talking about something, I have going in the background a video or a photo or something, an article that they're specifically talking about. And sometimes I throw in some funny shit or something I want them to say.
So there are times where Gerald purposely, I would say, leads us.
Yeah, not times, like a lot. I put this on here because I do want to talk about the future and really what the plan is. But for anyone who's ever listened to like Joe Rogan, Fighter and the Kid, any of those Below the Belt, I mean, Gerald is doing what all those people on there are producing, and pulling up the content in real time for us to see when we're wrong about something. He'll correct us without you guys really seeing it for right now.
I'm your fact checker.
All of those things. So. His role is more, his role though is for sure more for the future than for right now. But that's always the question. Everybody always asks me is why isn't Gerald mic'd up and what does he do? That's what I hear more than anything from people I know who listen.
Yeah, and I honestly don't think that Gerald could be mic'd up doing that. I don't think that works. I mean, that doesn't mean maybe at some point we couldn't have him mic'd up to the point where he's, unmuting it just to speak on something real quick. But to consistently be on and do that, no, that's too much to ask anyone.
I think and also it's a logistics problem, right? Then you're tied to having 3 people together all the time, which we usually are, but then there's 3 sets of audio to edit, and there is a plan to what we're trying to do in the future that would also make that maybe a little more complicated. But we'll talk about it. I mean, I want to talk about the future. So, but yeah, that was my first question. So now we'll go to Dan. And Gerald, I'm going to let you lead off with Dan. Your question's for Dan.
Sorry, I'm writing all this stuff down. No, just like the score.
You're writing down all our answers and stuff?
Yeah. How many? Who asked what? And who's it?
We're not.
Yeah.
Who asked what question? Oh.
That's probably good to keep up with because in a minute I'll be like, who went last?
See, that's what the producer does.
Yeah, because in literally 20 seconds I won't know what we're doing anymore. But like, what's the show about?
So Dan, what type of game are you surprisingly good at?
I'm here.
That you wouldn't think that you would be? Like fighting games, sports games, adventure games, racing games that you're good at now that maybe in a long time ago you didn't think you would be good at.
I would say that the games that I'm good at now that is kind of not predisposed to my personality or not what you would expect are stealth games. I'm not traditionally known for my patience. But when it comes to stealth, I can absolutely do what needs to do to wait to get where I need to be, to stay hidden, to, assassinate from the shadows, whatever, not be seen. Which traditionally, I tend to be a little bit more like I like action and that kind of thing. But I've noticed and this is more so now than it ever was before. As I'm growing older, my patience is getting better, and I will sit and wait for that opportunity. So I would say stealth games are the games that I am probably most, I guess, better at or good at than I would have expected.
Good patience.
If you guys have that question for me, my answer will not be stealth game. Just
I understand that.
We know. Warning on that.
We know that.
If your question is what have you gotten worse at that you've always hated, that would
be stealth. Yeah.
There's few things in video games I'm as bad at as stealth.
Yeah, and I used to hate stealth. I used to just be a run and gun guy. I wanted to get into the fight, get it over with. And there are times where I'm still in that mood and I still do that. But when it comes to the stealth aspect of things, I do very well as I've gotten older, I guess. I've gotten very well at waiting, scoping, surveying the situation, watching the patterns. So yeah, I'm sticking with stealth.
There was a specific game, and I can't remember what it was. I've been trying to think this whole time you were talking. There was something that we played not too terribly long ago where I remember thinking, like, you were surprisingly
Dan was really
better
good
than I expected.
He was always one of the last ones
who
always get killed because he'd be way off in doing his own thing, hiding.
Yeah, that wasn't it though. It was something. It might have been
Firewall.
Might have been Firewall on PSVR.
Could be.
Because I think you hadn't played in forever, and you jumped in one night, and you were like better than expected. Maybe it was that. I don't know. It was something that we played where I was like, that was caught me off guard a little bit. Because it was something I think you didn't play. It may not be that. That could be the absolute wrong answer. But yeah, there was something specifically we played not that long ago where I remember thinking that.
No, Firewall I was surprisingly good at. Just because I like the tactical aspect and the, I mean, I was in constant communication even more so than you guys were.
Yeah, we need to get back into that. Okay. So next question. Yeah, Dan, do you want a fun one or do you want a serious one?
I don't care. Just hit me.
I don't know what you said.
Yeah,
my Skype
too.
freaked out.
I saw that. I said, go. It doesn't matter. Just go ahead and hit me. Yeah, it's all set now, but yeah. Just hit me with one.
All right, let's start with this one. Has a video game ever made you cry?
Has a video game ever made me cry?
Now, you go as deep as you want here. You can just say yes. You can say what the game is. You can say why it made you cry. You don't have to. You can just keep it as... I don't want you to have to share something too personal.
No game has ever made me physically cry.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
There are games that have tugged at my heartstrings that made me, get some feels and feel a certain way, but not physically. Now, to be fair, I don't cry at movies. I don't cry when I read books.
Not much, right?
I'm not much of a crier.
Yeah.
So
that's why I gave you this question, because I'm like, what if he is on the DL crying at games and we don't know, because you don't give me that vibe.
Right. Yeah, I don't. And I don't cry at much.
Okay.
I mean, even the darkness of my soul doesn't even allow me to cry a whole lot for real life situations. So, no, there have games that have made me feel a certain way and be like, wow, that was pretty hard hitting. But no, never physically cry.
The beauty of what we're doing right now is if I asked Dan that when we weren't doing this, he would go, what? Why are you asking me that? No, I don't cry. And see, now I get like, we get like a much nicer answer in this setting. This is good. There's lots of stuff I should have added probably here. So now it's my turn. Gerald, why don't you start, because Dan and I were just talking.
So for you, Ryan, okay.
Gerald?
Where was that?
Oh, there you go.
Yep. Sorry, Skype's acting a little bit funny, so
yes.
If we get a little jump around a little bit, that's what's going on.
So I'm trying to find the one I really wanted to get you. Okay.
What do you got?
Who is your favorite villain in a video game?
Oh, Jesus.
Well, I'm glad I didn't get that one.
It's one that I'd have liked to have thought about before now.
Because you don't play a lot of games that have like villains in it.
Favorite villain. I'll be honest with you. I'm sitting here right now trying to think of any villain from any game that's memorable enough for me to remember. Yeah, memory questions are bad for me. Let's see.
Favorite villain.
Was it favorite villain? Is that what you asked? Favorite villain.
Your favorite villain in a game.
Yeah, that's a fine question. I don't. Let's see.
Look what you did. You stumped them. You did give him a memory question, to be fair, Jared.
Yeah, because I can't think of any. There should be something here, though.
If you could just, if you need to, you can probably just say the villain at the end of this game, or this villain in this game.
I'm gonna go I'm gonna go broad here.
Okay.
Because I can't think of any villains, but I'll tell you the game that's made me. I'll do it like this. Man of Medan, the Dark Pictures anthology. It's not so much a villain as it like what I thought the villain was versus what it was.
Okay.
So that's definitely something that stands out. And I would also give an honorable mention to Little Nightmares, where everything's a villain. And that game does an excellent job of making me feel really uneasy. But just like one person, I can't really think of anything. But who the villain actually was for lots of Man of Medan, very surprising to me. That's a lame answer, but I can't remember any villains.
Yeah. You got something going on there, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know what, but it's something.
Yeah. What's your biggest issue? Memory.
Yep.
Could have answered that one right off the bat. All right, what do you got, Dan?
Ryan, I know that you're not much of a multiplayer person.
Okay.
Which isn't entirely true anymore.
Well, ish.
But before the days of the internet, when you played multiplayer games with your friends or whatever, was your preference to play split screen or LAN party?
So I wasn't in a situation where LAN party made much. I had a small room growing up, but there was a point when I got a second TV, and it's a stretch to call it that. I was playing on like maybe a 20-inch like CRT.
Yep.
But I found this really old like 13-inch CRT that used to be in a van of someone that I think my dad knew. The guy got rid of it and gave it to my dad. And so my friends would actually come over and play on they would bring their console and play on like a 13-inch TV that was positioned about 3 feet from my regular TV. Like in your plain vision, you could clearly see both of them.
Okay.
But our preference was definitely to play split screen, and it was just a logistics issue. I just didn't have two TVs for the longest time. And let me tell you, it's a special thing to play split screen on a 20-inch CRT. And if you haven't done that, you should. It's a special moment. But much like Gerald, I live for those moments where my friends would come over and we would play all night. I will say a lot of times our preference was probably to play take turns.
Okay.
So, we would kind of. I think it was like we wanted to show off our skills and not necessarily in beating, but like you're stuck there. Let me show you how it's done. And so there was a lot of that. So yeah, I would say split screen though between those options for sure.
Okay.
And we're back to Gerald. That was one round.
Yeah, it was one round. We're back to Gerald. Wow. What am I going to ask you? Oh, here we go. I got a messed up one. I got a messed up one for Gerald.
It's the worst thing that's ever happened to you in your entire life. No, I'm just kidding.
No. All right. Throughout and this is probably just going to be a yes or no.
I've got one of those too.
Gerald, producer Gerald, during your many, many years of playing video games, both old and new, have you ever found yourself attracted or sexually aroused?
Yes.
To a video game character?
Now, hold on. Gerald, do you want to elaborate? Or do you want to not make it weird?
I'll leave it. It's up to you. I asked my question and he answered it. You can say whatever you want from there, but that's what I want to know.
I would wager it's not a one-time thing based on how quickly he answered.
The one that got me, like, I was like, oh shit, okay, wait a minute, what am I watching here? There was that game called Soul Calibur. Was that Soul Calibur 4? When I'd be at working
a lot of jiggle
at the time
physics.
I was working at Babbage's, and right across we would have the screen for the demo for playable PlayStation, and then we'd have one for the Xbox right across. So they would sit there and just play that demo over and over and over and over again, and we would just sit there and just watch it and just see jiggle, 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 jiggle all the time.
Like, Gerald, why are you putting the demo unit in the bathroom?
I mean, if they had a porn of this, I might have to watch that.
Yeah.
Man.
So I think that's an unfair question because we all grew up playing games, so I think it's probably a yes for everyone. But getting Gerald to admit it in front of everyone who listens is probably...
That's true. That's true.
If you grew up playing video games, because when you were a kid, the wind turns you on.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like me, growing up around that age, I had Princess Peach. No, not doing it.
You wouldn't hang out with Princess Peach?
I would hang out with her. I was not attracted to her, or I was not like, whoa.
What about now?
No, Dan's girl was the...
still not... she's all right
Uncharted
now,
chick.
yeah.
See?
Chloe, yeah.
It's better.
That's right, Chloe.
And I knew it.
I'd already had it in my head. I'd already had her in my head when I was asking the question.
Yeah. These memory ones I'm going to be bad at because I'm sure the answer is yes.
Have you ever been attracted to someone? Have you jacked off to them? That'd have been the one. No.
Yeah, no.
Well, I just assume those are the same answer.
They are not. And actually, Ryan, I did want to ask you the same question, so I did have that same question for you. Have you ever been attracted to or sexually aroused by a video game character?
Oh, I'm sure. I don't know what it is. I'll tell you what I like. I like the kind of the same in TV. I like the tension between two characters, like when you know they like each other. I like that. I'm not like hard as a rock while I'm trying to play.
Yeah, no. I get that too.
But I find the tension between two characters that you kind of in the show. You watch a show and you're like, I kind of want these people to hook up. Mm-hmm. I get that way in video games sometimes, and I wish games did more of that. Like relationships is not something games play with a whole lot. The whole purpose is
you to try to hook up with girls like Lisa Shoot Larry or something like that.
Yeah, but that's too far in the other direction.
That's not really relationship related.
But I played one of the Laser Shoot Larrys when I was young, and that's probably a good answer for a game that probably turned me on because you could have sex in that game.
Yeah,
or
you
the
could.
Sims, you can do the naked skins on them.
Yeah. Well, I played on my dad's computer, so I couldn't. But yeah, that would have been great. All right, Gerald, do you want a fun one?
Dan gave me a serious one. Give me a serious one then.
Right. That was a serious one?
Yeah, being aroused by a video game character. That's not.
I think that
I would call that silly.
I kind of thought that it was a fun one.
That question was.
All right. Okay. Here we go. So I ask you. My last question is, what do you do here? My next question is going to be, what is your earliest memory of the show?
My earliest memory of the show is when we went to lunch and you told me you had a podcast about video games. And I was like, how come you're just now telling me about it? We're about 4 or 5 weeks in. And I'm like, what? We've been going to lunch for 4 or 5 weeks.
If you've been around since the beginning, you would know why I waited 4 or 5 weeks to tell you. And that might get brought up later, but I did you a favor by waiting 4 or 5 weeks. So that's extraordinary, though, because, we're coming up on 8 years. So when you're talking 4 or 5 weeks in, like, your earliest memory of the show is pretty much our earliest memory of the show. We planned for a too long before we started, but yeah, it's a long time. Mm-hmm. It's a long time ago. Now, do you have more memories if this is your question, Dan, just tell me to stop. Do you have more memories as a listener or as a in a producer role now?
The original 3.
Yeah. That makes sense.
With you, Matt, and Dan.
Yeah, because you listened for so long. That's cool. That's a long time ago. I don't think I remember you listening that early.
My brother would write in questions to y'all every now and then.
I remember that. And you had your own podcast and stuff going back then too.
Saying, oh, well,
it's a long time ago.
What?
Yeah, it was.
Mm-hmm.
We're different people now. I think maybe is the most surprising part is if you go back and listen to us 7+ years ago, we're different people now.
Yeah, we probably are.
Yeah, that's odd. It's not odd. That's how life works. But it's weird that for most people, they say I'm different now. You can actually go hear us be different now.
Be different over time, yeah.
Yeah. We're not talking about it, but anyone who knows friend of the show, Matt, and talks to him, if you go back 7+ years ago and listen to him on episode 1, he is not even the same person, in any aspect. So it's so much different. Mm-hmm. And luckily, I think we've all grown for the better. So that's good too. No one's like, man, that person's shitty and they used to be all right. We've all gone the right direction, I think, which is important.
Yeah. We've made some steps.
All right, Dan.
All right, so you're up now, Dan. We got questions for you.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
Are you keeping us on track, Gerald? Because I'm almost lost it already. Okay.
What game do you wish? Okay. No, what game do you really like that you wish me and Ryan liked? No, one.
You might need to give 2 games here.
No, not to play. There's a game that you really like that me and Ryan have not played that you wish we would experience what you experience when you play it.
While Dan's thinking, I'm going to answer this after. Just so
as
a play together or just
now, you talking? Do we need to play it together? No.
You just want us to like it.
Mass Effect.
Yeah, that seems like a fair answer.
The Mass Effect games. I want everyone to love those games like I love them. Particularly people that I actually talk to.
This question's not for me, but flipped, it would be Minecraft for Dan.
Mm-hmm.
I want Dan to love Minecraft as much as Gerald and I do.
I want everyone to love Minecraft as much as we do.
Okay, let's see. This is a hard one, so you may not be able to just give me something.
Okay.
What is your holy grail video game collectible, or if you don't know if it exists, what is a thing that you would prize over anything else if you could have? Video game related. It doesn't have to be. So if you're I would like to have this autographed by whoever, that may not be a thing that's out there or whatever it is. But if you had a thing that you would put in a safe so it doesn't burn down if your house does, what's that video game collectible that's that important to you? It could be a system. It could be anything. Probably
the Mass Effect Collector's Edition, the original.
For the first one?
The first one, signed by Casey Hudson and Drew Karpyshyn.
So if you had that would, if the house is on fire, you're grabbing the wife, the pets, and that.
Yep.
Yeah.
That would be mine, signed by both, because that is hard to come by as it is.
Did that? Well, I was going to ask, is that it wasn't signed by them? I assume you would have to have gotten the collector's edition, then had it signed.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Have you ever seen that?
I have not. No.
What?
I've never even seen the collector's edition out in the wild.
Perfect world. You have money to blow. What would you spend on that?
How much money would I spend on that?
Yeah, let's say it's okay. You can afford whatever that number is. What's the top number you would pay for that, to have that?
Probably $5,000.
Yeah. This question gets me excited. I like people spending money, and I like things that are rare.
Because I know right now it goes for $700 at some places.
Oh, wow. Just for the collector's edition?
Just for the collector's edition itself.
Wow. That's
because it wasn't the phenomena that Mass Effect 2 and Mass Effect 3 were because of Mass Effect 1.
Yeah.
So they made these collector's edition, and everybody pre-ordered 2 and 3 collector's editions. Those are pretty easy to come by.
I'll tell you what's been blowing my mind. I was looking at the prices of strategy guides. You know, the Horizon Zero Dawn collector's edition strategy guide sells for over $100.
Really?
Yes. Crazy.
Wow.
So you would probably have to pay $5,000 for that if you wanted it. All right.
Yeah.
That was easier than I thought. I know that's a hard question because I want everything, so I don't know if I could have even given you an answer.
Yeah. No, that's a good thing about like me with those collectibles like that. Those, in the essence of what your question was, is it would have to be something that does matter to me.
Right.
Right.
You know.
So, Dan, we got to ask Ryan a question.
Oh, excuse me. Okay. I got to ask Ryan a question. All right. Ryan, you have one video game character, any character, any game, to choose as your best friend to hang out with for the rest of your life. Who is it?
Sackboy.
I knew it.
Let me explain my choice. First off, he doesn't talk. The most important trait that Sackboy possesses is he doesn't speak. Because I don't need Sackboy speaking to me all the time. Also adorable. How good would he look in the passenger seat as I'm cruising down the road? You know you can dress him up. You can make him whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't want it to be a Sackboy, you can turn it into a Sackgirl.
Right.
If you want it to be a Marvel character, if you want it to be a Muppet, you have those options. And there's no one who's going to be yelling at you, pissed off at you when you got Sackboy, who I assume is like 2.5 feet tall, standing next to you, looking adorable. The downside, very vulnerable. You got to be careful with him.
Yeah, he is made of cloth.
He's cloth and he's burlap and fluff or whatever you want him to be. So
he's
you do have to.
He's just a big walking beanbag. So
yeah, you got to be careful. You can't be in the rain. I don't think.
Be careful.
So there's going to be some logistics things you have to think about. But yeah, Sackboy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Gerald's answer: anyone from that fighting game he was talking about earlier. That would be
Soul Calibur.
So anyone from Soul Calibur. Yeah, that's Gerald's answer.
Any of the girls specifically.
Yeah. But yeah, that was an easy one for me because this is not the first time I've thought about having Sackboy as a real person that follows me around.
I got one for you. All right. Because I'm going to ask you this because you have the most consoles of all of us. You've had the most consoles. So what feature in a specific console that you wish all the other consoles would adapt to or get?
Ooh, that's a good question. I got my answer.
That's hard because like the old systems did really neat things that have all pretty much been adapted now. It's hard not to argue this day and age. It's hard not to argue with the integration that Stadia has and my ability to play Stadia anywhere, and same thing for xCloud. So I guess if I was answering today, like what I wish a console had that some do have is would just be that, the ability to play anywhere. I can play on my phone, I can play on my laptop, I can play on my TV, and in theory I would have the same exact experience on all three of them. So I think that would be I love the idea of, you're in the living room, your wife's watching TV, but you can still play the game you want to play without interfering with that. You can grab a tablet, you can grab your laptop, you can grab a pair of wireless headphones and throw them on, put one on, that way you're still in the room, but you're also, playing something. Like, I think that, and, the Switch did that to a certain extent with its portability. But yeah, I think expanded on, I would say just like Stadia and xCloud's ability to play anywhere. I didn't even think of definitely that the future that I want to be a part of.
I thought you were going to say like the Game Pass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Game Pass is extraordinary. I think it's necessary for Xbox, though, and I don't think it's necessary for Nintendo or PlayStation. So I would love to have a Game Pass on everything personally.
Yeah.
But I don't think it makes sense. But the ability to play anywhere on multiple devices, I think, is the future that has to happen and should happen.
Yeah, it's a good answer.
So now we're back to Gerald, right?
All right. Gerald, you have the opportunity to produce and lead one and only one other podcast, what is the topic you choose?
Legos.
I'm trying to give the Legos. I'm trying to give the... Okay.
Don't pick video games.
Yeah, no, it'll be Legos.
You got one of those already.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's that makes the most sense for you.
Yeah. Have you ever thought? Do you have an idea in your head or anything? No, just you would have to form an idea and expand on it.
I think it would have to be more a visual show for Lego to work.
Yeah, the cool thing is already being done.
Okay, but I said podcast, so you got to take the visual aspect out of it.
I think it could play. So what I was going to say, the cool thing about what people are already doing with Lego is they just build it while they have a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the conversation plays because it's not about what they're building, but the video also plays because they're building the thing too. And I think that stuff's already being done. So I think that Lego is a cool answer. I don't know how you do it now though, because I think the cool things are already being done with that.
There's not a podcast, there's a YouTube video where the guy basically talks he could turn into a podcast where he basically talks about all the most expensive Legos out there, what Legos are selling this year really good, which ones are not, which ones you can resell, which ones are retiring, which coming out new.
How often could you do that, though, and for how long?
You could do a 30-minute show. I mean, if something comes up, hey, there's a new set released this week, or this week they released it, they're saying that these sets are coming out. Because when they do that, when you release them, they never say, oh, this is our fall set. This is, okay, for Friends, this is coming out in the fall. Then, a couple days later, they might do one. Is, oh, here's a Star Wars one to come out later this year.
Yeah. So it would be much more of an informational, news-centric type.
Yeah, if you did something like that, but I don't know if I would want to do that.
Lego show.
Because I don't pay attention to juniors. I don't pay attention to a lot of the different sets out there, and I really wouldn't care about talking about them. Only specific ones I like.
Yeah, and you gotta.
Yeah, because right now they're really.
I feel like to have enough
dots
substance, you gotta cover everything.
They're cool, but I'm not into those.
Dude, I feel you, except for I saw that Iron Man painting one, and I was like, that's fucking awesome.
The Iron Man and a Darth Vader.
I'm not even an Iron Man fan, and that thing looks incredible. What's the we're gonna get off topic here. What's the new? When I was at the Lego store the other day, they had a whole bunch of stuff I'd never heard of. That's it looks like Ninjago, but it's something different. It's a different name. I didn't know if it's a thing they made up or if it's a show.
There's a bunch of people on boats.
No, it's got a name. It's a name. I didn't know if it's a kid's show or what it was. I can't remember what it was. It's probably bad to bring it up because I have zero details about it, but they had 10 sets at the Lego store, and I'm like, what is that? What even is that? But I don't remember what it was, so it's not important.
Not important.
All right, Gerald, were
kid.
you a Sega kid or a Nintendo kid?
No.
Didn't even have a friend. Okay. Huh. Did you... So, because I was a Sega kid, did you wish that you had access to the other?
Was around when I got to see it. Nintendo, I think the Super Nintendo just came out, it was already out. Because I was in Germany and we just all had Nintendos over there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I was lucky in that I was a Sega kid, but I had friends that were close that were Nintendo
anybody
kids.
That I knew had. And it was was it NFL 2K7 or something? I think it was or 2K something that was the most popular, and that's the only thing everyone ever played.
All right. Nice, easy one.
Yeah. All right. So what's up next? Where are we at on the score sheet?
I think we asked you a question.
All right, Dan.
Oh, now you guys got to ask me a question.
What is the game that you really got hyped up for the most, but was disappointed the most about when you actually played it?
Oh, man.
When you actually played it.
I was hyped up for, but disappointed. I know there's one. I can feel in my bones that I know, but I can't think of the name.
Is it Andromeda?
Or the situation. No, it was before that. I really, really thought it was going to be really good, and it wasn't. Damn it. Oh, I know what it is. It was Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. Because I had such a great experience with Assassin's Creed 2, which I still think is the most perfect video game ever created. And it was supposed to be more of that in that world, with same characters, same world. And it was incredibly disappointing because it glossed over what made Assassin's Creed 2 so great and introduced all this new stuff that I didn't care about.
How about Super Mario Brothers 2? That broke a lot of hearts.
I didn't really care about Mario back then.
So different.
It was very different, but...
So different.
But
if that happened now, though, like if you like picked up the new Assassin's Creed and it was like a shooter or something, you'd be like, oh, this is a totally different game. Like that, it was still a platformer, but that Mario 2 was like just a totally different game.
Yeah.
It wasn't even Mario. I mean, everybody knows that story, but yeah, that was a weird departure.
It would be Red Dead Redemption 2.
They did that a lot back then. Oh, I thought that game was excellent.
Well, the thing is Super Mario Brothers is so different from Mario Brothers.
Mario Bros, yeah.
You know.
Yeah, you're right.
So.
Let's see. All right, here you go. Do you still remember the first episode? Like, do you remember doing it?
No.
Do you have any memories from... I'm sure you remember the lead up to everything.
Uh-huh.
But do you remember, like, getting ready to record, like, hey, we're going to make the first episode, whatever, like, you remember having the feelings like, can we even do this?
No, but I'll tell you about that when we first got started. A lot of people don't remember this, but we actually had a website, too, where we did game reviews and articles and stuff like that. I remember in the beginning writing those little, like, slice of life articles that I wrote.
Yeah.
Were have been some of my favorite memories of this podcast. Because I enjoy writing, I enjoy coming up with those ideas. And I remember being incredibly stressed out by the timeline that we were trying to put on it.
Yeah. For those that haven't been around, we did way too much in the beginning with deadlines. So we did way too much, and we had deadlines. And definitely there were different combinations of us. And I mean, at times I think there were 5 or 6 people involved.
Yep.
And we tried to be IGN or GameSpot or whatever, and said we were a few dudes who didn't know what they were doing.
Yep.
The one consistent always having been the podcast. But I do remember. I also fondly think about those times.
Yeah.
It was a little bit of a train wreck, but I thought we churned out some cool stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I was always very proud of that writing that I did.
Uh-huh.
Of those just little... I can still remember the one about the internet that I wrote. I don't even have it saved anymore. I probably haven't read it in years. I'm sure we've lost it.
So I think everything still exists on the site. I think you can't see it. I don't think you can go find it, but I do think that I have everything. But maybe not. Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, it now we do Sundays. Ryan does a little, more than usually Gerald or myself do. He pulls the news and does most of the editing. But back in the beginning, man, there was like 3, 4, 5 of us, and we were super heavily involved. I mean, it was like a full-time job that we weren't getting paid for, and it's kind of split. It was like fun, but completely sucked.
Yeah. It felt like we were like doing something, though.
Yeah.
I felt like we were building something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's... Now, you're going 3 months from now, you're going to be like, he's already quit doing this, but that's kind of how I feel about streaming right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's giving me that same vibe as, like... It's like re-energized me for video games. It's giving me that... No one watches either. I want to be clear on that. But it's like giving me that, like, re-energize me, like I'm like building a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like doing a thing. Like I'm going to figure out what it is. It may not be this, but I'm going to figure out what it is. Give me that vibe again. So I've enjoyed that. Yeah.
That's good.
All right. Fun.
All right. So those are my questions. Now we have questions for who? Gerald?
Yep. All right. Go ahead, Dan.
Questions for Ryan. All right. When you were younger, Ryan, now, I know some people have mixed families. I know you're one of them.
Yep.
But what were your takes on video gaming from all your different parents, whether it was steps or not?
So,
as far, did they approve? What were their opinions on it, and what you were doing on it with it?
So we'll start with my dad. So my dad, my parents divorced when I was younger. My dad actually got custody of me, and the video games were, I think, the easy way for him to relax and for me to also like have something to do. And so like with my dad, they've always been a part of my life. And really, if I could change one thing now, I wish my dad still played video games.
Yeah.
Because like I miss being able, like I bought him a PS3 to like try to force him to like continue to play games. But like, you know, remembering that, you know, and really like some of the last things we had played together before we just kind of quit playing. But yeah, but they were always everywhere in my life. And like, you know, my dad is, you know, we didn't have a lot of money growing up, but it would be one of those things where like he would let me get a game like every weekend or every other weekend or once a month or whatever financially we could afford. Mm-hmm. That would be the thing. Like, we're going to go to town today. We're going to go to all these stores you hate, but if you're good, I'll get you a game. And so like that was just our thing, and we would come home and play it together. I was not picking out stuff to play by myself. I was picking out stuff to play with my dad. And so there was a huge part of that. My stepmother came into my life. It was, you know, I was already older. That's just what I did already. And she didn't rock the boat with that. I mean, she didn't rock the boat with anything. I mean, she's always just been really accepting with like who I am and what I do. And so that was fine. Now, on the other hand, my mom knew that I loved it. She doesn't know anything about video games. You know, if I wanted it for Christmas and put it on my list, she would get it for me if we could afford it. But, you know, she didn't know anything about it. My stepdad goes through phases of where he absolutely hated it, and then other times where he was interested in playing it, but he always hated how much time I spent on it. He wanted me to go outside. He wanted me to play. He wanted me to do the things he did. My stepdad is, you know, he's a farmer. He's a rough, tough kind of guy. If you know me, I'm not that. And so, you know, wanting your son to be out in the yard doing stuff or learning to shoot guns while he's in the house playing, you know, Superman on N64 is not really the trade-off he was looking for, because he wants to talk about hunting and I want to talk about the expansion pack for the 64. And so I think definitely for him communication was hard. Now, you know, there was times where he would lean into it. I remember him playing like Columns and stuff on the Genesis with me and some Star Wars games and stuff back on the 32X. And I mean, he did play, but it wasn't his thing. And I didn't push it too hard because luckily on the other side, I had my dad who always played with me.
Okay.
So video games are a huge part of my life, but they're a huge part of like my family dynamic too. Mm-hmm. You know, with like my dad, like all of my favorite memories of my dad are like us playing games. And there's like so many. I'm like super lucky. There's so many of those. And I think it made raising me with him easier too. Like I think they're a huge part of his life because of that.
Right. Okay.
So yeah.
All right. My turn.
All right.
So how much money would you need to be given to quit video gaming forever?
You know, that's tough because I don't really have another hobby. You know, that's the hard part, is that I don't know if I didn't do that. I guess I know what I would do. It would be enough money where like my family would be in a good enough shape where work was never going to be an issue again, because video games are just a thing I do. Like that's how I process my stress. Like as an adult, that's how I keep from being a total dick 24/7 to everybody.
So millions, billions.
In all honesty, it's probably health related to me. Like at this point, like it probably keeps anxiety under control. It probably a lot of things that stress can cause with blood pressure, things like that. It probably keeps a lot of that stuff in check. So it would be enough to where I was financially set. I would say I mean, being realistic, if someone right now came to me and said, I'll give you $1 million to never play video games again, I probably would have to take that deal. Right? You know, to get everything paid off and to be at a spot where I knew I had money when I retired and then, but that would be such a shitty decision to have to make. Because $1 million is not really enough money to be like, I'm into this now. And this is my whole new hobby. But I would lean heavily on like the smart home stuff, but that stuff comes out, at not the rate that video games do.
Mm-hmm.
So I would just, really try to make the house as smart as possible and play with robots. But yeah, I would definitely miss it. And I think that no matter what amount of money I took for it, I would regret it.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. But I'm also not an idiot. So if you have $1 million and want me to give up the thing that I love, then I guess slide up in my DMs. I don't know. So that's kind of where I'm at.
All right.
Fair enough.
So it's my turn, Dan.
Yeah.
We got to ask you questions now?
I think my favorite thing about this is Dan can be like, how did this make up your childhood? And Gerald can be like, do you like feet? I like how they're so random. Like you don't know. You can go from like a super serious moment to like how much to give up the thing that you love. I like that they're flowing like this, that we didn't order them.
Right. All right. Gerald, I want one non-video game piece of media, TV or movie, that you would like to see turned into a AAA video game.
Oh, man. 'Cause my favorite movie is already a video game. Yep.
Chronicles of Riddick.
Yep.
Chronicles of Riddick. Yeah. Yeah. Ooh, how did I do here? I stumped
most
them.
of the stuff I really like are video games.
Yeah, but to be fair, yeah, Riddick is a AAA
so,
video game.
Yeah,
but
wrestling just got
a AAA game, yeah.
Yeah, wrestling could get good.
Well, wrestling's already AAA games.
It's not good, though.
Yeah, some people they are. Some people love them.
Yeah, but it's already turned into a AAA game. It's got to be a piece of media that hasn't been turned into a AAA game.
AA.
Well, fair. That's fair, yeah. But it's still AAA. It's not like it's Fire Pro Wrestling or whatever.
I think people like that better.
I think so, too.
It's even hard for me because I think about all the things I know Gerald likes, and they're all video games.
Every single thing is video game related.
Like I was trying to think about it on the side, and they're all.
Yeah.
What about like Spawn? Would you say Spawn got like a AAA treatment ever?
I mean, he's been in Soul Calibur.
Yeah.
He's been in Mortal Kombat, and he's had a game.
Yeah, but I don't count that as his game.
Concerning amount of Soul Calibur talk from Gerald today. Just going right to it every time.
Yeah, I think he's had 2 games. They were both bad. But they were both AAA. I actually played through the one on the PS1, and it was so bad.
Yeah,
Not in a Power Glove kind of way either.
I think it's hard because, things in pop culture get turned into video games. I mean, that's the cycle.
But it's got to be a AAA game.
Okay.
This
right.
Is the key to the question.
G.I. Joe.
I would wager G.I. Joe's definitely never had a AAA game.
G.I. Joe.
No, it did have the game, but I don't know that I would call it AAA.
That one that's coming out, I still wouldn't call it AAA.
That one that came out?
They got one that's getting ready to come out.
Oh, a G.I. Joe game?
Yeah.
Oh.
Still would not call it AAA.
They did release one after The Rise of Cobra came out.
Would you like a real, like you want like a Call of Duty type situation, or do you want like the cartoon?
I would like to see the cartoon played as like a Call of Duty style.
Like, what if the cartoon got turned into like, what if the cartoon got like Cuphead treatment? Really? Because that sounds amazing to me.
You don't want it as a platformer?
It can still be a shooter, but it's just that look of like you're playing the cartoon.
No, it's got to be 4-player multiplayer.
No, see, I'm thinking of
it could be that way.
Like Fallout with G.I. Joe. Open world, you can play.
So you want the like Call of Duty treatment.
But cartoonish.
Ah.
The 80s cartoon G.I. Joe.
I'm a hard pass on that one. Sounds good. It's weird. Everything just. The reason some of these questions are so hard is because honestly, we're all everyone's out of imagination. Everything just comes back around, and
right.
Like he has to say, not the cartoon that's on now, because like that's a thing.
Right.
Everything just is.
Yeah.
We're out of ideas.
See, my answer for that is fucking He-Man, but
He-Man.
And it doesn't matter what He-Man you do. Fucking He-Man. Come on. All right. I think it's you, Ryan.
Let's see which one I want to go. What's your favorite controller of all time?
I think it was for the Nintendo, the Super Nintendo. It was the one that had the turbo button on it.
Oh, because you were a cheater.
Yes.
Is what you're
for
saying.
those like flying games that you constantly had to mash the button down for shooting.
Yeah.
That was the button I needed.
Was it first party or was that a third party thing you had?
I think it was a first party.
Yeah, I think Nintendo had one that had it on there.
I think it was a first party one.
So I had an NES and then I went over to Sega, a Genesis. So I actually don't know much about the Super Nintendo. The Super Nintendo may be the system I actually know the least about.
I think it was a Super Nintendo had the turbo button on it.
I didn't have a Super Nintendo until I was basically an adult.
No, it was really good for when you played Super Tecmo Bowl because you could break tackles quick.
You were a cheater. Again,
Cheater.
I'm going to go back to that. Yeah.
Yes, and stand by it. It's fair.
All right.
All right, now we got to ask Ryan.
Yep.
Right? Is that right?
Yep.
All right, Ryan. Do you remember, and if so, can you describe your first multiplayer experience?
Probably not. I'll go with the first one I can remember, though, is playing SOCOM on my PlayStation 2 until all hours of the night and breaking every rule that you would give your children today and exchanging real information with people. Those people called my home phone number to talk to me about playing SOCOM. Total strangers, adults mostly. As a child, I was a child. I had adults calling my house to strategize playing SOCOM on my PlayStation 2. And I remember playing headset on, right? I had this weird like breakout box that was attached to the headset that came with SOCOM.
Uh-huh.
I remember playing SOCOM with that in my room. I had my 20-inch, and then I had my 13-inch beside it where, I would have whatever playing over there because I thought it was cool to have two TVs on. And then I had R. Kelly or like Nelly playing in the background while I was playing SOCOM, which I know everyone on the headset appreciated. But yeah, that's my earliest memory, and also still one of my best multiplayer memories. I mean, I've loved playing games with you guys, but like that was, knowing
its
like
own beast. That's its own beast.
Knowing it would go from that to what it is now, like if I would have only known then, like that was a thing, like that's all we were going to do in the future mostly, or like people would want to watch you do that. Like there would be millions of people every day who just go to a dedicated place to watch you do that with your friends or other people. Like that would have blown my mind. But yeah, that's one of my favorite. I remember being like 3 a.m. I shared a wall with my parents. So I was like trying to like be quiet on the headset. And I don't know if anyone listening knows, but that's impossible because we're all morons and we get excited and you can't hear yourself because you have a headset on. So they would constantly bang the wall, and I wish there was recordings of it because you would hear them bang the wall like 5 times a night every night where I was too loud on the headset. Had that network adapter for the PS2. It was all possible by the network adapter.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the first time I remember seeing multiplayer at all, I went to my friend's house who had a Dreamcast, and he was playing NBA 2K or whatever online, and I did not even understand what was happening. I remember asking him over and over, how do you know you're playing with a real person and it's not just telling you you're playing with a real person? Because they weren't talking, like they're just playing against each other.
Right.
And over I kept going, but how do you know it's real? Like how do you know it's not just saying you're playing online, but you're just playing against the computer? You don't know the difference. And he's like, it just is. And I'm like, but how do you know? Because my mind was so blown, I couldn't even understand it. So, yeah.
All right. That's your turn, Gerald, I think, right?
Yep, for Ryan.
Yep.
To ask Ryan a question.
Okay, Ryan.
Question.
Do you know the movie Jumanji?
I'm familiar. The original?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
But the concept.
Yep.
Four people get transported into a game.
Yep.
What game and what 3 people you take in with you?
Well, I'll take you 2, and it's tough on the third one.
I don't know.
Well, see, it's funny. He went that first instead of going with the game, then deciding on who would be helping best in the game.
So the problem is, it doesn't matter what game we pick. I've got to trust the people I'm with.
Mm-hmm.
So, of the people that I talk to, I spend the most time with you guys. You know, I'm not bringing anybody in my family. I don't want them to have to be in a video game. So I'm going to spare them. So you 2, and then here's where I'm torn, because if we're just talking friend of the show, Patman, is good at everything.
Right.
So you got to think his stats are pretty good on everything. He's probably not a master of anything, but they're pretty high on everything.
Right.
Matt, friend of the show, Matt, used to be host Matt. He's going to have some columns that are maxed out, but he's going to have some columns that are pretty low.
Mm-hmm.
So his ability to like maybe fix things or do things or be methodical, really high. His ability for people skills, really low.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to listen, so he'll find that comment fun. So you got to think that. But then there's friend of the show, Marshall 205, who I'm pretty sure if he was in a video game could not be killed. Because he's that character where you're like, why won't he die? Like, no matter what happens, he's still alive. And that would be helpful as a group, too. So I think I would take you 2 and friend of the show, Marshall 205, and I think I would put us in something like Diablo, because the world's so different and we could kind of go through it forever, and it seems like it would be fun for us to kind of like clear out dungeons and be like...
face the gates of hell, yeah.
Adventurers, yeah.
Yeah.
I think there'd be something said for, like, I've never played a Monster Hunter game more than just trying it that one time. I think there's something that would be neat about us, like hunting monsters together, or like maybe like a Witcher situation where we were all together. But yeah, I think I would put us all in like a never-ending like dungeon cycle where we're just going through stuff. Also, I think Minecraft would be a great world to live in, but you hate Minecraft, and I don't want to hear you complain every day about the world we live in. So that's something to keep in mind.
That'd be me, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that'd be me. What the fuck? Everything's a fucking block. All I do is dig all fucking day. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
My shovel broke. My shovel broke for the 9 millionth time. I'm done. I'll be in the house. So let's make this. Can we do the final round on this one?
Yeah.
Well, no, we're not done the final round yet.
But can we
still
though?
have to ask Dan.
Oh,
okay, but so the next round will be the final round.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I thought I went last.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, because we went you,
Dan,
then me.
No, we asked Dan.
Well, Dan just asked me a question.
Yep, and then we asked Dan a question.
No, it went in the order of you, Dan, then me. I went last to start. I'm sure of it. Doesn't mean we didn't get out of order somewhere along the way, but that's how we started.
Okay. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
But I've got more questions, so I'll ask Dan a question.
All right. So we're asking me questions. Go.
And then we're going to ask you questions, then we'll go into the final round.
Then we'll go into the final round. We'll go Gerald, you, me is how we'll finish it out. Yeah,
okay, so here's your second to last question for me. Did you ever think this show would last 400 episodes and 7+ years when we started?
I never really thought about it. I guess I will say I didn't think we would remain. I thought we might see more growth than we did.
Yeah.
Obviously, a lot of that comes down to us. We haven't done things that are probably necessary to make that happen. But I always figured in some iteration when we first started, I knew there was no way we could keep up everything we were doing.
Yeah, I
knew that wasn't going to happen.
I think we tried, but I think everybody knew that.
Yeah. Once we just scaled it down to just a podcast, yeah. But I thought we'd be on, but I did think that we would see more growth.
Yeah, we're almost. So if you look at like, I'd say we were like third or fourth tier of like when podcasts came about. Like you had your people who like started podcast and, your Adam Currys, your Adam Carollas, like those people. And then you had your Joe Rogans and everybody like. But you think about Joe Rogan doing it for like 10 and 11, 12 years, like we're not that far back.
Right.
And podcasts definitely were not what they are now.
No.
He signed a $100 million deal with Spotify. That would have been a hysterical joke. First off, Spotify didn't exist back then, but the idea that someone would pay you for you just to talk.
Right.
Or that would entertain anyone was a joke back then. And it was when we started too. So we're almost more qualified to write a book about how not to do a podcast than we are to do one after 7.5 years, which is funny because we literally made every mistake and fell into every trap that you can. The only thing is that we're just too hard-headed to quit.
Right.
Because everyone else falls into these and they just quit. That's why there's 8 billion podcasts and all of them stop after like episode 40 because it's hard. It takes time. And because when you make some of those mistakes,
they're tough to come back from.
Sometimes you never come back from them.
Right.
We really screwed up. We started fast and hot and we had a good following very quickly. And then we fucked up. I don't know a better way to say it. We fucked up with everything that we did. And I would argue that we rebounded from it, but it took a very long time.
And I still don't think we've fully come back from that.
So I think I think part of the problem is because we did a much better job in the beginning sharing stats. I don't share stats because they're really, again, back then, 7 years ago, we were on like one platform, 2 platforms. Right. So it was much easier. Whereas now, sometimes if you look at numbers, you might be like, oh, only 20 people listen here. But it's like, that's one of 6,000 ways to listen.
Right.
So it's so hard to know to where the data doesn't just depress you when you look at one of them. And then I don't want to spend 5 hours compiling a spreadsheet either.
No, I get it.
So, yeah.
So, yeah, that's... Yeah,
so the answer is yes and no. You didn't think we wouldn't be here, but you also didn't know... You weren't thinking about it at all. You were starting a podcast.
I thought we'd be here. I thought we would have shown more growth. I mean, we've tried a few different things. It didn't work, and I mean, we'll both admit that neither of us are necessarily the 2 most ambitious people on the planet.
Yeah, we definitely missed the mark when it comes to marketing, which is single-handedly, I would say, the second most important thing to podcasts. I think the most important is frequency and consistency. But the second is like marketing and finding people to listen to your show. And we don't do that at all. We actually have no growth, but we've just been waiting for it to happen organically. And that's probably not realistic at this point because
that's
we're
our
so
fault.
far. And we messed up when we could have had that organic growth is when I would argue that we messed up the most.
Yes.
When we were experiencing it is when we messed up the most.
Yes, I would agree with that.
We talk a lot about screwing up, but we haven't screwed up in a big way in a really long time.
Nope.
But boy,
one time we did.
We really fucked up though when it mattered most.
Yep.
So, yeah. All right. One more for him, and then we'll move to the final round. That's right, Gerald? One more for Dan.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. All right, so on the podcast, back to the podcast thing, Dan, which one of your fondest moments of the last 400 episodes?
One of the fondest moments of the last 400 episodes.
So you couldn't give me this one and give him that villain one?
No.
Could have answered this one, and you gave me the villain one, and I gave the lamest answer of the whole show.
Now, are you looking for like a feeling or like a single memory that sticks out the most?
Yeah, single memory sticks out the most, a feeling, just something that...
I'm telling you what, the one thing that's never going to leave me for the rest of my life is U is for uterus.
Oh.
It was really, really early in our run. It was at that point. It was a lot more of an, I would say, now we're conversational. I would say then we were a little more argumentative.
Yeah.
Oddly
enough, I think that's the thing that gets brought up the most too, and it's like such a throwaway moment for me.
What's that?
The U is for uterus.
Yeah, U is for uterus is probably the moment that sticks because it's not even like it's not necessarily a good moment, but at the time it was exactly the moment.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it's such a throwaway moment for me, but it's probably the thing that gets brought up the most to me from people who have listened for a long time. Like that they always think that when they see you or when someone's going through it. But I'm like, that's just the way my head works.
Right.
Is I'm just trying to find a word in real time that starts with that thing. And like that wasn't a...
He's reading out like an Xbox code or something.
Yeah, that's what it was. I was reading out a code. And because I don't understand the real world, I said you as in uterus. Not trying to be funny.
That's probably why it was so funny.
Right.
Because for not trying to be funny and coming up with that word, that's fucking hilarious.
Right. It broke the show. For sure. But yeah, that's probably the moment I hear those. So I would answer this even though it wasn't asked to me. When we went to Comic-Con, all three of us together, and knowing that was probably the last time that, all of us would be together like that in a setting. Yeah. It was pretty incredible.
Yeah, that.
We did like the piano bar the night before, and it's like the whole thing was cool.
The whole thing was really cool. Yeah.
Matt got punked out by a celebrity, and
yeah, that was my second memory. That wasn't as podcast related.
That was such a special moment, and we were there on like media passes, and we thought we were big shit, and just like having everybody together and being there and experiencing that and feeling more important than we were. And like doing the whole thing the day before, and then like just how everything worked out. It was just, that's such a fond memory that I have, that I know could never be replicated. It was a time and place. But
Didn't we wander around and eat Sbarro one night or something?
Yeah, we definitely did. Too late. Anything you could eat in Nashville, went to Sbarro, and got shitty pizza. Shout out to Sbarro. And it's such a fond memory. That whole weekend that we did was such a good time, and going down there and looking like morons, and again thinking we were more important than we were. Luckily, it was the first time Comic-Con had done Nashville, so they didn't really know what they were doing either.
Right.
But yeah, that's one of my fondest memories of all of us going down there and all that.
Yeah.
Did I ride with you one day, Gerald?
No,
did we take turns driving? Is that a separate one?
Yeah, you guys went to a separate one.
It was the third one.
Was after I left.
Yeah, all those memories are super good memories. One of my fondest memories with Gerald actually has nothing to do with the podcast. It's when we went to watch Matt wrestle. In Chattanooga.
That was a good time.
So if you know anything about me, I don't watch wrestling, and I certainly don't know anything about underground wrestling. So the whole thing was a fucking event for me.
I had fun. I liked it.
It was a blast, and I don't like wrestling, and I thought it was a blast.
I would have loved to have gone. Too far.
Yeah. But I think seeing Matt do something that I knew was his dream, and we had a fun car ride down. We took a weird Uber to wherever the hell this was, which is clearly a gym where someone has been murdered before, and seeing they had an actual real setup with real fans. Those fans were passionate about what was happening.
I think one of you guys actually has it on video, had it videoed for me.
Yeah, probably Gerald.
Yeah.
I'm not good about thinking
right.
about it.
Didn't you video it?
Photos.
Yeah. And you sent them to me.
Yeah. It was really cool. That was a cool moment too. But yeah, nothing will probably ever top Comic-Con for me with all of us there, because it was just, like I said, it was just silly.
Yeah, we had some fun. See, that's not one of my fondest memories because I fucked up on a purchase. So.
Yeah, you have reflected on that purchase for a long time. As a person who doesn't have any control, I would say you're good to let that go now. I would say you've done your enough of your self punishment.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, that was a good time.
Kicking myself in the ass. I think tripled in price, quadrupled in price.
Final round, right?
Yeah, final round.
Right.
I got to ask Gerald questions.
I'm gonna go sort of serious for this final round, so I just want to make that clear.
You are.
I'm gonna go sort of serious. So if you want to pivot and go light, we could yin and yang. It's up to you. But I'm
just gonna wing it.
Okay.
Let's see. I actually might have actually, I want to know, Gerald. I don't have a whole lot of questions left here. I think I want to give you one that I asked Ryan. I want to know, too, where did your parents stand on gaming?
My dad was a gamer and still is a gamer. So our first systems were basically he bought it for himself, and then he would buy games that he wanted to play, and we would have to play those games if we wanted to play them.
Okay.
Oh,
cool.
damn. It was always whatever he wanted to play. Because low-key, my dad bought the systems for himself, too, but he would buy me games that I wanted to play or that we could play together.
There was one Christmas my dad brought, because my brother was the guy who wanted video games for Christmas. I wanted toys, Legos, and G.I. Joes and shit. So my dad bought my brother like 5 or 6 games, but it was nothing games my brother wanted to play. It was all games my dad wanted to play.
That's such a gangster move. When you guys... Dan, did you have anyone that was playing games like in your family?
No.
So this might be more for you, Gerald, but when you got to the age where you could buy someone Christmas presents, did you ever buy somebody a game you wanted and do that back to them? Because I did that with my dad. My dad didn't do that with me, but I did it with him.
No.
I'd be like, I got you that Gran Turismo. He's like, okay, yeah, because I've never loved a Gran Turismo before. And I'm like, can we play it? Because I would just get it for myself. I would have my mom buy me the game I wanted for my dad so that I could get it because we hadn't had a chance to buy it yet. So I would do stuff like that. So I know how that works, but I know the opposite side of it, which is the better side to be on than the side you were on, unfortunately. I know the side where you buy something for somebody because you want it.
Now, I've never bought a game for my brother or my dad or anything gaming related.
What about your mom? Where'd your mom stand?
My mom played. She loved like the Nintendo, like Super Mario Brothers and Pac-Man, and Mario's still her favorite games.
Yeah, my mom played. My stepmom played. No, not much, but like everybody in my family at some point like played games around me or with me. But
okay,
I wish my wife would play.
Yeah, it's tough, right? It's tough when people don't play and you want them to play because you know if you force them to play, they would like it, but it wouldn't be the same as if they just wanted to play. It's tough. You're like, if you would just play something, I know you would freaking like it, but like me coming at you like this isn't going to help.
Yeah, you're already starting off on the wrong side of the wall.
Right. Because you're like, this game would be perfect for you, but love it if you just freaking play it.
Yep. All right.
That. Okay, so Gerald, here's my question for you.
Okay.
Dan and I give you total control, and we say, Gerald, the future of the podcast is on you. Where would you like to see it go?
Realistically, or just it would.
Yeah, I don't want you to say like we're going to have 10 million listeners tomorrow, but
don't say like Neptune.
Where would you? How would you shape it? What would you change? What would you like to see change about it? Like, where would you take it right now if we said you're legit producing, it's all yours?
Video and live.
So, the two things that you would like to see, I think, are realistic, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the real answer to what you're doing on the show is what you plan to do on the show, which is to add the video component and to add the live component, which I think we're fairly close to.
Yeah, because I don't think you do much editing. I think because we can do it live.
Yeah, so if I think back to all the instances that we've done the show, and all the episodes that I have edited, which is a ton, almost all of them since Matt left, I think there's only really one time I remember taking something out, like an actual like thing that happened. I took it out. So I do make changes to the podcast. I do edit it, but what I remove is us talking over each other. You won't hear it when you listen to this, but at the beginning of the show, Dan and myself talked over each other when we introduced you. So I take that out every week. I clean up those things. I leave them in when I think they make sense or when I don't feel like it. But, I always edit the beginning of the show and make sure it's a clean intro and all that stuff. But as far as like what we've taken out, I've only ever taken out one thing from the show ever. And so, doing it live to me isn't scary. But there is that weirdness of like, it's out there. But again, I realistically, I think you get a good snapshot of what this show is live because if I think back as far as I can, I only ever remember removing one thing. Now, Matt might have removed stuff when he edited, I think I only ever took out one thing, and I didn't take it out without the other person knowing. I did, but they knew too.
See, video, live, and then in person with me, you, and then Dan on Skype or a video.
What do you mean in person?
You two together?
Me and you together.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. So us in the same place and Dan still because he's in New York.
Yeah, you can't get here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not making that commute once a week.
We actually have the Gamestitch studio.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think 2 of the 3 of those are close. The other one probably depends on one of us getting a dedicated space set up. But yeah, the idea of live and video I think are close. And again, I ask you that question because I know like that's really always been the plan and that's really why you're here. Mm-hmm. So I didn't want the answer to be like that you just pull up video because what you've been working on and behind the scenes is figuring out how to make the live work for quite a while now. Which is also why we need people to follow us on twitch.tv/Gamestitch because that's another avenue for you to watch. Yep. Get us some of that ad money maybe and get us some subscriptions over there. So, all right. Now we're on to Dan, right?
Yes.
No, I think now on to... Oh, are we?
Yeah.
No. Ryan or Dan, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't
matter. It's the last round.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So we asked Dan.
Go ahead.
Do you have one ready?
So, because I basically was going to ask that to Dan.
Okay, so my Dan's question is what's next. So we'll just keep that. Because for you, I was like, what do you see the future? But my question for Dan just says what's next. So yours is similar. We'll just use one question for him.
What would I like to see? What changes would I like to see, or what?
What changes where you see it going? What
What I'd like to see, one of the things I would like to see is I would like to see us maybe get more people brought in to branch off into other podcasts and kind of create a network where we can talk about different things and we can all interchange on them if we need to. But as I've stated a number of times that yes, I love video games, but I don't have near the love for them that you do. And there are other things that do interest me more that I would like an avenue to speak about. So that's a selfish thing that I want is to be able to talk about other shit that I love besides just video games.
Yeah.
But I think the networking it allows you to reach, as essentially a video game podcast. I don't want to say it's niche because it's not, but it's very specific.
Yep.
You create a network. You talk about some other topics. You expand on the audience that you might bring in. Someone who doesn't necessarily like video games much might love Legos, might love movies, might love TV, might love a certain genre of movie, might love horror movies or whatever. So you particularly with our lack of marketing skills. We need every avenue we can imagine to bring in new audience members.
Yeah, I would shift the skills to effort.
Okay, well,
we might be good at it. We don't even know.
But there's that. Yeah, I would like to see our marketing pick up, but I also know that I'm not the guy to give the effort for that. Yet, I pretty much, when it comes to those kind of things, I need to be led. I'm not necessarily the leader.
Yeah.
If you ask me to do something, I need you to do this. Hey, I'm in. I'll do that if I can, obviously.
Right.
I'm looking forward to being able to get producer Gerald's hard work up and running to get things up live with some video. I'm looking forward to that. I know you guys were interested in like the Gamestitch studio. It doesn't do much for me because I'm way up here. So
look at how much fun we'll have, though.
So go, guys! Yay! Yeah. For you guys, I hope that's something that happens.
You could always visit.
I could always visit. Yep.
You could sleep in the studio.
So, that's pretty much where I'm at. Is I would like to be able to create some sort of network or get involved with some sort of network. Where I can talk about some of the other shit I love on a personal level, but on a professional level, I would like to see things go live. You guys get the studio, and just kind of I don't know, class it up, I guess.
Someone just agreed in the background.
Yeah. So there's lots of stuff that we could still do. There's lots of stuff we've talked about doing. It's just a matter of, again, like I said, effort and skills. Maybe not necessarily in that order.
Yeah. That's it, right?
Gerald? That's my answer.
Yeah, I think we just combined our questions.
Oh, you guys just combined your questions?
Yeah, I think we had the same question, basically.
Okay,
so.
well, I guess
I
Ryan's
think we should
up.
ask Ryan the same thing.
Yeah, we'll ask Ryan. That's what I was going to say.
Let's
We'll
make
ask you
this
the
last
same
round
question.
easy.
Yeah.
So that's a complicated question for me because I would like it to go a lot of places that it probably can't go. If I could rewind to, almost 8 years ago and talk to myself, I would tell myself not to do a video game podcast. And I love video games more than any other hobby that exists or whatever you want to call it. It's just there's so many that already do.
You're shoehorned.
Yeah, that already do all of the same things that we have done. And some of them came after us, some of them came before us, but so that's probably something I would change. I would definitely do something different. I'm really passionate about scripted podcasts. I don't think they make any sense for what we do here. So for the future of this, I think the live component's huge because I think it'll eventually lead to audience interaction, things like that, which I think will be refreshing for us. So I think that's a huge part of it. I would like to see us come together for. So I would guess now I would describe what we have here as like the status quo.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is just what we do. It's what we've been doing.
Yes.
This isn't really anyone's vision.
Okay.
Right? This is what the show morphed into out of convenience and out of laziness, and out of being comfortable. And I would like to see us get uncomfortable. I would like to see, we've had really some, I think, remarkable ideas, and we do nothing with them. And I think that's disappointing because I do think that, like you said, when we were overambitious in the beginning,
we were all in. We were all in on our overambition.
I think we always knew we probably were going to fail, but I think we all thought we were part of something special. Mm-hmm. And I would like to see us step out of the comfort zone a little bit. We talked as soon as 2 weeks ago about changing the entire way the show works, and all three of us were like, "Yeah, like I like where that's going," and then we're still banging out the same show.
Yeah.
And I think I would like to see us more than anything is I couldn't tell you where I want to see it go, but I would like to see it go somewhere else. I would like to see us. We've had people. We're lucky enough to have a great community of people who have reached out to us and said, we'll help, and we don't take that help. And part of that is because, again, this is just how we do it, and it just comes out every week, and we make it happen every week. Yeah,
we just go through the motions, essentially.
Yeah, and so...
It was a word I hesitated to use when you guys asked me this question.
Yeah.
I hesitated to use the word, but I was looking for us to not be so stagnant.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair, and I think, to be transparent with everybody that's listening, one of my favorite parts of the week is to get on here and talk to you guys. I truly enjoy this, but it's a little bit out of selfishness because I enjoy talking to you two.
Right.
It doesn't really have anything to do with the show, right? This is when we get to catch up because we're all busy, and this, for whatever reason, no matter what's going on in our life, we're able to carve out this hour and a half or whatever to talk to each other. And for me, that's really important, because the two of you, I really don't get to play games with anymore. We're on totally different schedules. Gerald won't play anything but Fallout 76. Because, that hasn't been an opportunity. I haven't missed a beat with you guys because we still get on here each week. And so, I have so many friends who aren't friends anymore. They're people I still like and people I would love to. I just I don't make time for that connection.
Yeah.
But we've always made time for this, so that's really special to me. But I would like it to not just be that for us, but to be that for everybody, and to be a special part of everybody's week, and for the people who listen, because I do think that it has gone a little bit stagnant. I think we just regurgitate news that you've already heard or are about to hear for the next week. And I would like to see, this is probably the most genuine episode we've done in 3 years.
Quite some time, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, the news of the week is especially a little stagnant considering when we come out and how we do it.
Yeah, and it's also just, it's me cycling through or again, regurgitating what other outlets have already put out too.
And then we talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
mean,
for
we
way
had a
too
lot
long,
of stuff that we...
Yeah, for way too long, everyone has told us their favorite part is when we just talk.
Mm-hmm.
So, to know the bond that we're in, I don't know how you do a video game podcast where you just talk. That's not a video game podcast, which is fine. Our name is also Gamestitch.
It's not what we...
Our name is also Gamestitch, so
right.
It's hard to be like, welcome to the Gamestitch Podcast. Today we're going to talk about airplanes.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if that makes any sense just based off how algorithms and search engine optimization works.
Right. We'll look at a boat talk.
They're at least on a boat, though. There's literally, if there's no connection with video games, our name makes no sense. So
yes. Our
name's not great, but our name is great because if you're going to talk about video games, you want to come up when people are searching for games.
Yes.
So, there's some difficulties there figuring out how I don't want to not talk about video games. I don't want to only have to talk about video games. I don't share a lot of the same passions that you guys do outside of video games. So, sure, Gerald and I can talk about video games and Lego, and you and Gerald can talk about video games, Lego, and movies. I don't want to talk about movies.
Right.
I don't want to talk about wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
We can all talk about dogs. I don't know how entertaining that is. Gerald doesn't want to talk about smart home stuff.
Right.
So it's one of those things where it's like finding a way for us to all have the outlet to talk about the things that we love. Because I would argue that the most passion you've got out of us is when we talk about smart home stuff for the last year. Just doesn't make sense on a video game show that we have currently running. So,
right.
If there was a way to encompass all those things into one show, I guess that's my super long-winded answer of what I would like to see is to find a way for all those things to be part of a show that we do under the umbrella name of Gamestitch still. Because unfortunately, we have 7.5 years with that name and 400 episodes. It'd be a shame just to throw it out.
To throw it away.
Because things don't last this long, especially on the internet.
Ain't that the truth?
So yeah, that's my long-winded answer. This has been fun.
Yeah, it was different. Definitely different.
It was different than I was expecting. The questions you guys posed me were not ones I was expecting or even thought about, some of them.
Really?
Gerald, with that damn villain question.
That's
not even. I
even
thought about the things that you guys
question.
might ask. I never stumbled upon that. I didn't have the foresight to think about that ahead of time.
And I think I got through most of my questions without doing too many repeats.
Yeah, I had some extras. I think we talked about trying to do like 5 apiece. I had some extras just in case there were some repeats.
Well, I'm glad I had mine because I had several.
Yeah, I kind of thought the last round would just be what it was. Just everybody like, what's next? Or, I kind of thought that's where we would end. So that was kind of like a softball question, I guess. But I wanted to hear everybody's real answer without being discussed with the 3 of us. And honestly, I don't think we know. I don't think we know what it looks like. I think it does look different than it looks right now, though.
I do too.
Like I really honestly believe. I know we talk a lot about change, but I honestly believe that this show looks different in the future, and hopefully people will adapt. People who've listened for a long time, hopefully that it's still a thing that they like. But I think the most important thing now, the most critical thing, is it has to be something that we like.
Yes.
And not just something we do, but something we're proud of. And so I think that's probably pretty immediate. It's why I've been streaming a lot lately, because I think we're at a weird place. We're like, I don't even know what I want us to be, and I don't think
What's the changes that need to be made?
Yeah, and I don't think the 2 of you know, and I don't think the 3 of us together know, but I think we all know that something needs to change. And so I'm actually excited about figuring out what that is together. And like I said, it's not really anybody's show right now. This is just like what we do.
Right.
And so I'm excited about it, like figuring out what the 3 of us want to make. And then seeing if we can make that thing, because it's like everything we do, we'll make a list and then we'll mark half that list off because we can't do it. But I'm still excited about whatever that other half is. I think it'll be cool. Yeah.
All right.
Episode 400.
In the books. That was it.
400 of these bastards.
It's a lot.
Yeah. A lot of shows will tell you to go back and listen from the beginning. I don't advise that.
Nope.
I think you could start with last week and then hit this week's, and you're fine.
I would say start around 50.
Don't even go that far back.
Not even that far.
Last week's fine. Pick up from there, hit this one up, and then I think you're good from here on out.
Okay.
I think we make a way better show now than we did back then.
Oh yeah, I do too.
So I think that is true. I think we are better at this than we realize. I have to do stuff at work a lot where I have to lead meetings and stuff. Virtually now because of COVID. Mm-hmm. And it's like banging out a quick podcast.
Right.
Like I'm good at it. They're like, you should lead all calls. I'm like, yeah, I could.
I probably should. You're right.
It's like a thing that I know how to do. So yeah, that's been fun. So I want to thank everyone who has listened along the way, whether they still listen or they came in our life and exited our life. We don't get a lot of interaction from people, but the interaction, we've never had negative interaction with anyone.
No.
And we have been lucky to make what I would consider like lifetime friends out of this show. There are people I talk to that I would never have spoke to before because our paths would not have crossed.
Right.
And it's not like I'm fans of what you do situation. It's like these are people I would consider to be friends and family, and like, if you needed something and I could help you, I would, that's, and don't ask for money, but you know what I mean? Like those are like, real relationships have come out of that. Like I care about people's family and I care if they're having a bad time, and, that's come out of us doing this show. So thank you for that. Again, I don't want to name people because I'll leave somebody out if I do.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, if you've been a part of this in any way, like we really do appreciate that, because there are times where we feel like giving up or it's too much for this week because we got a bunch going on, and that's when you happen to hear from somebody or somebody text you or message you or you see a letter or something like that. So we do super appreciate that as well. That's all I have. Gerald, do you have anything?
Just appreciate you guys letting me join.
I mean, you're a part of it. I think that's the, yeah.
I've almost been
really?
200 episodes.
Fuck.
Holy shit.
That's crazy.
I think I started around 238. I think was my
one
first
question
episode.
I didn't ask you that I wanted to. Do you still listen now that you're on?
No, if I'm not on, because I pretty much hear everything.
Yeah, I wondered. I didn't figure you still would. Now, Dan, do you ever listen?
I do.
Just when you're not on, or do you listen?
No, I listen. I don't listen like from beginning to end.
Yeah.
But I'll remember. I think there was something interesting here, and I want to see her. Man, I feel like I said something dumb here. I need to.
Yeah. Let me see if I did say something dumb.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why we have to change what we do. We have to figure it out, because when I edit the podcast, I'll laugh out loud like each week when I'm editing it at something. Like especially here lately, like we've had some pretty funny moments, and I'll catch them as I'm like fast forwarding through looking for mistakes or issues or like where I want to change something. I take some ums and long pauses out and stuff. I like catch them. I forget what it was, I think last week, but I like physically busted out laughing. And it was stupid, but it was funny.
Yeah.
And more people need to be able to be a part of that with us, because I think those are real moments that not only was I not expecting it when it happened, but I wasn't expecting it when I listened back to it too.
Right.
So,
yeah.
I don't listen either though.
But no, I'll skip through, especially because I have certain podcasts I listen to, and if there's not a new one, I need something to listen to. So that's kind of where Gamestitch comes in.
Yeah, I kind of hear it twice every week anyways.
And it's like, I remember this conversation. That's stupid. 30 second.
Because I'm on it and then edit it, like I'm pretty well done with it at that point. But I do download it every Monday and start it just to make sure it sounds right. I use Apple Podcasts, so I download it every Monday. It automatically, I subscribe to us, and then I listen to it just to make sure everything sounds okay. Just the beginning of it, and I'll fast forward to the end, make sure the whole show's there. But yeah, I don't listen. I've never listened to a complete episode, I don't think, start to finish.
Yeah, I haven't either.
It's not really my... I don't have the problem people have where they're like, I don't like to hear myself talk. I don't have a problem with that. I just been there, done that, right? I sort of know what's coming because it was us. So, all right. So genuinely, thank you for 400 episodes. Thank you for 7+ years. Thanks you to you guys. Obviously, this isn't something I could do every week by myself.
Thank you.
Or that I would want to do by myself. That would not be fun. So, I think we'll make it a long time past this. I just think it'll look different. So take that ride with us, and we'll see you next week for I don't know. Maybe a regular episode, maybe something different. We may be going through our teen years and get real awkward here coming up. But just know eventually our head will fit our body and we'll figure it out. Or catch up to our feet, whatever you want to say.
All right.
And
good night.
We'll be back next week. Good night.
All right. Good night.